Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Another day, another live. We are going to be previewing for the second time in a week Chelsea versus Newcastle. But this time it is Newcastle versus Chelsea because we are away at St James's Park. It is no longer a Premier League game. That's done and dusted. We want to make it 2 wins on the trot. The Carabao Cup we take on at St James's Park. Listen, this is a bigger game than people realise. We're out here to do the double against Newcastle. Not 3 points, get through to the next round, because ultimately trophies are what people want at this football club. We haven't had a trophy since Clearlake Capital and Todd Bowley took over at Chelsea, and there is a good reason to be optimistic that we will push for one under Enzo Maresca. I think we can all agree that the Conference League is in the bag. I think we should be confident. But we needed the most domestic trophy as well. And I think if we win that, that gives us a serious amount of confidence that there is actually some real momentum behind this team, and we have something to show for it. It's not just about playing well. It's not just about playing good football. What does that bring you? At the end of the season, is your trophy cabinet full or is it empty? And we want to see that there's something to show for the effort that we've had. And what a great turnaround that would be. But I just want to say big up to everyone that's watching. We're streaming on YouTube as well as X as well. We've got about 35 of you on each platform at the moment. If you are watching on YouTube, can we smash that like button? Let's get straight up to 35 likes on the video. Keep me updated in the comments as well, because I can't even see. Let me know what we're on. Let's get up to 35 likes straight away. Big up to Daniel. I hope you're doing well. Amir, hope you're doing well. One Alex Harris. There's only one Alex Harris. Good to see you, Cam. Good evening, fans. Absolutely. It was nice to see you at Anfield. Up the Blues. Good to see you as well, Amir. I just want to say, I know I didn't upload the fan cams after Liverpool, guys. It was nothing to do with you. We had a problem with the microphones. So don't think that the interview was bad. It was a great interview. The microphones just didn't work. But yeah, let's dive into this Newcastle game, guys. Let's see what is there to speak about regarding this game. What has Enzo Maresca said? Who's going to be refereeing this game? And we'll dive into all of the details regarding this fixture. Let's start off with the referee. Who is going to be refereeing Chelsea versus Newcastle? Let's have a look. I've got the referee for some reason. I've got the referee for the United game, which has come up. It's apparently Robert Jones will take charge of Chelsea's Premier League clash against Man United. Although, interestingly enough, I was sent a message earlier on saying Anthony Taylor was going to be taking charge of that game. So mixed opinions there. I'm not entirely sure who's going to be taking charge. I mean, does anyone know much about Robert Jones? I'll be honest with you. I don't know who he is. I think we've just been stuck with the same old rubbish referees all the time. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, no. Well, this could be the man. Have a look at that. Now, you don't need to look much further. I've seen that face before, and he is incompetent, just like all the rest of them. So, yeah, rest in peace to Chelsea. You know what? Rest in peace to all the teams, because let's be honest, they're all rubbish. The referees are just terrible. They don't make life easy for themselves, and you can be damn right they don't make life easy for us, because ultimately, as a referee, it's all about common sense. And that's exactly what they don't have. So I find it really frustrating, to be fair, from my side, especially watching the games. But if you're watching from home with the replays and everything like that, then, well, I'm sure you're in a similar position to me, because you can actually watch the mistakes in slow motion as well as everything else. Now, as well, coming up for the United game, Ruben Amorim, who's taking over from Ten Hag. I mean, talk about the timing. It's said that he might actually be expected to be in charge of Manchester United when they face Chelsea on Sunday. Now, this is not 100% confirmed. I just want to highlight this. It is a very stringent process getting him involved. That there's a chance that he could actually be managing one of Sporting's games before. But this isn't 100% confirmed. I mean, who knows? There is obviously a massive chance, though, that he could be managing us for the game. What the hell is he going to give them that Ten Hag didn't have within the space of a few days? Ultimately, I think it's just going to be a breath of fresh air for United fans, and hopefully we're not a manager bounce. I mean, how typical would that be if we go to United and they've got a manager bounce straight away? I mean, that would just be ridiculous, because we don't actually have a great record at Old Trafford anyway. But this was probably our best chance of getting something in this game. But listen, I got Charlie, the man, the myth, joining me for this live. I mean, Charlie, we're just speaking about Amorim potentially playing, being the manager on Sunday. Do you think there's a real chance that can happen?
Well, he's going to manage Sporting's game on Friday, so I'm not too sure if he will be. To be honest, I don't think it really makes much difference at the end of the day. I don't see how we can manage the team on Sunday if he's managing Sporting on Friday.
Oh, so it's confirmed that he is managing Sporting?
Yeah. Pretty certain that's confirmed that he will be managing Sporting on Friday. So, yeah, that I don't see that happening personally. And even if it did happen, it's not making any difference, is it? Like, he's got 0 time to implement anything.
Well, you say that, but there's the manager bounce, isn't there? I mean, even if it's got nothing to do with tactical, there is going to be this feeling of rejuvenating at Old Trafford. I know there is. Like with any new manager, there's always a sense of, wow, we finally, because most United fans hated him. I personally think that the players have massively underperformed, but I also think that if you do dive into it, especially highlighting some of the Liverpool games, I think Ten Hag in the big games was just crap, to be fair.
Well, crap in most of the games, to be honest. That's why he's been binned.
But like even the West Ham game, like they should have scored more. Like I wouldn't say that was on the manager, like some of the chances they missed. But yeah, I can understand why they sacked him. You've got to do it early instead of waiting until the end of the season when it's all written off. So it's a risky call. But yeah, I mean, let's speak more about what's coming up for the Newcastle game. Enzo Maresca, he spoke about Jadon Sancho. He said he's been doing well since he arrived. Players can't maintain the same level all season because of the huge amount of games that they have to play. Last 2 games that Jadon Sancho didn't play was for tactical decisions. That's what Maresca's saying, and nothing more than that. He is going to play many games, and he has to continue to work hard. What's your reaction to that, Charlie?
Yeah, I just think it's pretty standard. He says it's tactical. We haven't really missed Sancho for the last 2 games, if we're being perfectly honest. I don't think him not playing against Panathinaikos was that much of a big deal. I was surprised that maybe he was unused against Forest. I wasn't really against Newcastle. But yeah, you got to work hard. Maresca said this about a number of players. Keep working hard, make the most of your opportunities. I think he's almost a dead cert to start tomorrow because he won't play against United on Sunday because he's on loan, so that can't happen. So I think he's a dead cert to play tomorrow for me.
Yeah, I mean, are you happy with what you've seen from Sancho? Is there anything else that you think he needs to offer, or because I don't think I expected him to start off as well as he did, but I knew he would suit the system.
Yeah, look, he's done reasonably well. He's definitely gone off the boil a little bit against Liverpool. I thought it was okay against Forest, not amazing. Liverpool first half didn't really happen for him. We've not seen him since. This is still early days, though. He's done about 4 or 5 games. We've seen some good stuff. We know there's loads of improvement to be made. And I think Maresca's a sort of manager that will get that improvement out of him. But yeah, Sancho's on a long road back to getting back to where he was, because basically for 3 years, he's not done anything, essentially, at Man United. No, he was at Dortmund second half of last season when he was half decent. He looks pretty good. But Premier League's totally different to the Bundesliga. And it's his new club. We've seen a few games from him. He looks okay. You just got to keep working hard, get his head down, and make the most of his opportunities. But I think he's done okay, but there's definitely a lot more to see.
I mean, personally, I think that you'll always get the best out of Sancho on the left, but Maresca's come out and said you can definitely play on the right as well, as blunt as he always does. But for me, I do think I want to see him on the left side. I think that's where you can see him getting a little bit more intricate. You can't. Well, you're not going to get him outpacing players on that right hand side. Maybe whipping in a few crosses, but I don't really see that as a position that I'd like to see Sancho in consistently. Especially when you've already got Madueke and Neto who can play on that side. But I guess if you're moving Neto onto the left, which I personally prefer, Neto on the left side as opposed to the right, maybe you're forced into a position where you want to give Sancho the game time. But if Neto's playing that well and you've got a player like Madueke who's dropping off a little bit, you might have to move him onto the other.
Yeah, well, we've got options. We've got options. I think tomorrow night he plays on the right. I think Madrid will start on the left and Sancho will play on the right. And it's good to have these options where you've got wingers that can play on both sides. Neto can do it. Sancho can do it. So it's a good position to be in, and it's good to have those options. It's certainly not going to do any harm, and it can be a little bit of a mix-up in a game, which could prove quite beneficial. So I don't look at it as a bad thing. I don't think we're going to predominantly see him there, but when circumstances dictate, such as tomorrow night, I think it's an opportunity to put him there and see what he's like.
Yeah, I mean, it would be. Who's been your favourite winger that you've seen at Chelsea this season? Would you say it's Neto, or has Madueke still done enough?
It would be Neto or Madueke. I think Madueke's done it for a more consistent amount of games. I'll probably say he's still been our best winger this season, but Neto is certainly closing that gap now.
I mean, for me, I like Neto. I think he just brings something different. To be honest with you, I like the fact that he can play on both sides as well. And I was saying this the other day, with a lot of left-footed players that play on the left wing, Perisic is a great example. Very one-dimensional. And you know what he's going to do. He's going to do the same thing again and again. If you don't know Ivan Perisic is, he's a Croatian player, played for Tottenham. He played for Inter Milan. I'm not sure where he is at the moment. I think he might actually be in Turkey or something like that. But yeah, like Neto doesn't strike me as that kind of player. He's a left-sided player who's happy to drive in, not necessarily come in and shoot on his right side, but I just think he has this variety. And even though you know that he's going to be better if he tries to whip a ball in like he did with Jackson, he does have that variety to his game and he keeps defenders guessing. But I'm very, very happy with what I've seen from Neto. And I do think that Neto will be our number one choice in terms of wingers. I think that if I had to pick between him and Madueke at the moment, I'd probably go with Neto. The only issue with Neto being that we haven't had with Madueke as of yet is the injuries. And if you look at his injury record from last season, and we still bought him, he missed half the season through injury. So I want to see how we manage that. Are we looking to play him every week? Are we looking to even have a couple of weeks where he starts multiple games in a row? Personally, I don't think we should do that, because once you get one injury, I think it's almost like a domino effect, isn't it? You have one problem and then another player needs to fill in, and they're forced to play more than they should, and it keeps happening. But I mean, what do you make of the way we've rotated so far this season? And do you feel like Maresca is going to rotate with a heavy squad? Obviously, we didn't start Cucurella the other day. He'll probably start on Wednesday, as well as other players.
Yeah, no, bro, I think, we've used the squad very, very well. And it's a luxury position to be in, and one that is certainly going to serve us well in the cup competitions, and one that's certainly going to serve us well when it comes to the Christmas period, where you're playing like Sunday, Wednesday, or Saturday, Tuesday for a few weeks on the spin. So I think it's going to be massive for us, that. And secondly, he's rotated really well, and we call it sort of a B team, but it's still a very good side. It's still packed full of international players with top quality. And look, tomorrow, do I think we're going to make 11 changes from Sunday? I'd be surprised if it was 11. I think maybe it'll be 8 or 9. I think Gusto will probably keep his place. And I think that it could only be Gusto, to be fair. To be fair, we could, maybe we do make 9 or 10 changes again tomorrow. But
it's mad, isn't it? Like, we're changing it. But the thing is, you can't get away with that in the Champions League. But I mean, because we've been playing conference, we can as well. But towards the latter stages of this competition, I would like to see Palmer start in, if we get to a quarter final or something like that.
Oh, yeah, no, I think, he will at that
We've got to
point,
take this competition seriously.
Yeah, but I think for now, when you're playing teams, the level of the caliber of team that we're playing, I don't see it being an issue. Of course, he's not going to make 10 changes in a quarter final or a semi final or whatever. But I think the way that we're going right now, we can certainly go with that for the majority of our cup games until we start getting to knockout rounds in the Conference League, and until maybe we get to a League Cup semi final or something like that. But for now, look, I think whatever we put out tomorrow, the quality's there to win. It's about turning up and delivering. It's not a quality issue in terms of the changes we're going to make. It's an application issue potentially. So, but from what we've seen so far, mate, everyone's delivered in this so-called B team, and we're unbeaten in the cup competitions so far this season. I know we lost to Servette in the second leg, but that doesn't really count because we still went through anyway. But we're unbeaten in cup competitions per se, and the supporting cast, the sort of the so-called backups, have all stepped up and have delivered and have put in a good level of performance in these cup games. So I don't see, I haven't seen anything to suggest that we're going to see anything different tomorrow night. I'm not saying we're going to win, but these guys will turn up and apply themselves.
Very interesting. I mean, yeah, especially when we look at the rotation factor as well. Maresca's speaking about Reece James. He's played 2 Premier League games in a row. In both games, he was very good. It didn't surprise me. I know how important he is for us, his teammates, the club. We just want to keep him fit. This is the main target. And I think that actually, and I will say this, I mean, I like Poch, but Pochettino, the way that he managed some of the players, maybe it was because we haven't got any injuries, Charlie. Sometimes it's a bit of luck. But I do think that there was times last year as well when I thought these players don't need to play 2 games on the trot.
Well, we also didn't have the depth, though, did we?
We didn't have the depth either. But no, you're absolutely right. You're right. But we didn't have Conference League either. I think Conference League makes it a lot easier to just make players happy. I mean, if we didn't have Conference League, would Dewsbury Hall ever get a game?
Well, this is it, isn't it? People moaning about the Conference League. This is the exact reason why I just wanted any extra games, regardless of the competition. Because imagine if we were where we are now with the players we've got and we're just playing once a week. You're fucked.
Mate, you don't have a happy dressing room whatsoever. Even if you look at you could have the fattest dressing room in the world and still play European competition on top of everything like we did with Potter. And you've got players that it just completely kills everything about the team that you want, which is that camaraderie, that spirit. Because if people don't feel like they're a part of that, why would they put any effort into it? I mean, obviously they should anyway because they're professionals, but that is what happens. But yeah, so I'm guessing we won't be seeing Reece James on Wednesday.
Bro, I'd be surprised if he even travelled.
You don't think? No, he'll definitely travel. Because Maresca said he wants all of the players, even if they're not going to be
That's
at
at home games, not away games.
Is that only home games?
That was home games, yeah.
I would, to be fair, I would still, as long as it's domestic, I don't think that's a bad thing. But I guess Newcastle. I mean, Newcastle's practically abroad at this point, isn't it? How long does it take you to drive to Newcastle? You're getting a train, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not going in the fucking car. It's like 6 hours.
Hey, I'm driving. I'm driving. Well, I'm going halfway, so I'm getting the train up to Stoke, and then
that's got to be at least 2 and a bit hours.
Couple hours, yeah. And then Kev's picking me up from Stoke, and we had a guy who was going to drive us there, but he decided. Well, he texted Kev today, said, "Oh, sorry, mate, I haven't got a car anymore."
Well, I just realised that now, did he?
He just threw us in the mud, mate. So Kev's obviously really pissed off, but he's like, well, I've got to drive, haven't I? But the thing is with Kev, like, I love Kev, Kev, if you're watching, I love you, but Kev gets really tired, mate. And we're going to be playing at 8 o'clock, finish at 10, a couple of fan cams, leaving by 11, probably. Yeah. I don't know if Kev's going to be able to stay awake on the drive back. I've been there before, Charlie. I think I was on the phone to you earlier. I was talking about it. When we came back from Nottingham Forest or Liverpool, one of the games, I kid you not, You know the Febreze sprayers that you use to clean your kitchen? So we filled that up with water because we knew this was going to happen, and I was spraying Kev's face on the way back from Liverpool to keep him awake. It was bad. We got back there, but it was quite stressful, to be fair, because I was on edge because at any time he's driving and his eyes just kind of went a little bit. But listen, I'm sure that won't be a problem. I do just want to say big shout out to Alfie. I appreciate the super chat. No message, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
Just love.
Just love. There you go. Thank you, Alfie. I really appreciate it. And big up to yourself and everyone in the chat. Matthew would like to see Sancho and Noni start tomorrow night. And Neto is a fantastic player for us. And he's reminded him of the new CR7 2.0.
Steady on.
That is a bold claim. I'm not sure about the Ronaldo comparison, but I get what you're saying. He's a good player. He's an energetic player. Do you agree with Sancho and Noni starting tomorrow, Charlie?
Mate, Noni won't start tomorrow. I think there's virtually zero chance of that, in my opinion. I think he'll be on the bench. Yeah, I don't see any of the attacking players that started on Sunday starting tomorrow.
Okay, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm trying. I mean, we're going to go through this later on. I don't know if you'll be here for that part, but I mean, if you are, great. But yeah, we will be breaking down who we think will start this game, and let us know in the chat as well. I mean, Maresca's also come out and he's been speaking about the targets that the club have spoken to him about. And one thing that I do find quite interesting is he's come out and he's basically saying, I already said that the club never mentioned anything to me about top four, which I think is really strange. Yeah, straight off the back. They said the target and the idea is to build something important for 4 or 5 years. We work every day to reach something important. We try to do our best. Now, I appreciate what he's saying about the 4 or 5 years because, as I said, trust the process and all that. Surely you've got to have a short-term target as well. So do you think that maybe he's just not telling the media, or do you think genuinely like it's all up in the air? Like, where is the clarity?
I think you can read between it. They always say the target is to build something important. What
does that mean?
Well, I mean, build something important obviously means building a title challenging side, a title winning side. You want to see progress, and look whether they've specifically outlined that whether he does or doesn't need to finish in the top four. He's fully aware that he needs to finish in the top four. I don't think there's anyone at the club that thinks it's all right if we don't finish in the top four this season, because it's not. So yeah, look, he's mentioned this. He's mentioned this earlier on in the season about no one's mentioned to him about finishing top four. They might not have mentioned it, but there's certainly an expectation, and there must be a feeling around the place. Maresca's not an idiot. He knows full well that he needs to deliver Champions League football. And so, look, I don't really read too much into that. We know what the targets are. He knows what the targets are. He knows what needs to be done, and whether they have or haven't specifically said that is kind of irrelevant for me.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we get Champions League football, it doesn't matter at all, really. I still have us finishing 5th. I think that
might be enough anyway.
That's the thing, right? So we could still get Champions League football even if we finish 5th. I just feel like injuries can really bite us. Let's just say, and I don't want to sit here and be the pessimist, but let's just throw it out there. If Palmer gets injured, how does that impact our season? I think it's massive for us. We are very reliant on a player like Palmer, as well as others in other positions, Lavia or Caicedo. And small things can make a big difference in football. And if we keep our players fit, there's no doubts in my mind we finish top 4. But up until January, I'm going to be really reserved. If we can get through that Christmas period, I will feel confident that, we've got it in the bag, guys. We can make this happen. And honestly, if we can do that with minimal injuries, credit to the players, credit to Enzo Maresca, and you'll see what a great decision it was, hopefully, to not bring Lavia or Fofana or Palmer in that Conference League squad so that later down the line they can help us. But yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, Charlie, with regards to top four. I think most people will be in agreement that, well, it is just the standard, isn't it? And we've gone from 12th to 6th. That is the next step, unless you want to take a baby step and go Europa League, but that's still not good enough, really, if we're being totally honest.
No, I agree. I mean, you win the Conference League, you get Europa League anyway. That's something we should be doing. And yeah, look, if English teams do well enough in Europe, then it will be 5 spaces, and there's literally 0 excuses if there's 5 spaces not to be in it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Also, Enzo Maresca spoke about the way that we finished the game against Newcastle, the latter
Wasn't great.
Stages. Yeah, he wasn't happy with how we managed the game in the last 20 minutes. He said it's a learning process. I mean, what would you say went wrong, even though we didn't concede? I mean, we certainly didn't play our best football.
We just lost a bit of control. We lost a bit of control, and we allowed them to come back into the game. Look,
any players in particular that had that impact? I don't think Labuon and Enzo came on.
I don't think that. I thought Enzo played all right, to be honest. No, I don't think there's any individuals in particular. I just think as a collective, maybe the intensity dropped a little bit. Maybe we, dropped off, sort of 5-10% or whatever. Started to invite a bit of pressure onto ourselves. We just didn't. Yeah, we didn't manage the game particularly well, and we're lucky that Isak didn't square the ball when he was kind of through on goal. If he squares it, if he gets his head up and passes to Joelinton, it's a tap in for 2-2, and we're having a totally different conversation. Yeah. I think it just comes down to an experience thing as well. They're still learning, and other than that, mate, it wasn't terrible. It just needed a bit more. It just needed a bit of refining. But look, we're a young team, we're inexperienced, we're going to learn from those sort of things, we're going to get better. But I was pleased with how resolute we were and how we managed to dig in and backs to the wall sort of thing. Because last season we probably would have conceded and that game would have finished 2-2.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there, man. I think a lot of people would say the same thing because we didn't really have the control. Pochettino quite liked the basketball games, a bit like Lampard when he first came in. Very entertaining if you're a neutral. But
we weren't boring to watch. We either win by loads or we'd get absolutely hammered. There were no shit games, like from a neutral perspective.
No, I'm with you there, man. I think, but to be honest, when you're a dominant side, I mean, I am with Maresca on that. You want to dominate all the time, and if you're going back and forth, that doesn't show much control. So I understand where he's coming from. The problem is, if it doesn't go well, it's really boring football. And that's what Leicester fans said before Maresca came. And I think that a lot of people were almost dreading, are we going to have Sarri Ball 2.0? Now, me personally, I think Sarri was all right. I think he was genuinely building something. It was quite a hard situation to walk into with a team that had never played football out the back. And then you have the most extreme manager in terms of that style, literally never took a goal kick forward. Everything was short, every game. So I can understand the frustration from people with that. But Maresca's shown an ability to adapt, to change things in terms of formation, in terms of the way he uses his fullbacks. All around the pitch, to be fair, he's shown flexibility, not to mention the fact that he's happy to make substitutions early, which is something a lot of people are critical about Pochettino. And I think that we can look at Maresca and say, bloody hell, I mean, we got lucky because now it's come out that United were actually looking to potentially bring Maresca in. And that is one of the reasons that we decided to move for him because of that, although I'm sure that we were looking more internally than that. He's turned out to be a great manager. And I'll tell you what, man, I think, Matt said it the other day. I feel quite lucky that we have Maresca at the moment because he's got all the character, but he's got the ability as a manager to go with it.
No, he certainly does. And he started very well. This is a big few days coming up now. Newcastle away in the cup and then Man United away in the league, followed by Arsenal the following weekend. This is it's a big few days, but it's a big run up to the next international break, the next week or so, 10 days. Massive. You know, if we can get through the Carabao Cup tomorrow, and if we can beat Man United, and then somehow get a result against Arsenal, we are in a very, very good place. But we could very easily lose both these games this week, and then the conversation is suddenly very different again. So whilst we're doing well and whilst we've started well, we're fifth with 1 point off third. Narratives in football can change very, very quickly. Newcastle were 2 points behind us on Sunday. They're now 12th. You know, this is how quickly things can change. So look, whilst we've started well and we're doing well and things are going in the right direction, we're still yet to see how this team responds to having a bad run of form. I don't mean just losing one game and then bouncing back and winning the next. That's great. But what I mean is, though, is like, if we were to go on a run of not winning for maybe 3, 4, 5 games, God forbid, but there will be a run like that at some point this season. You know, we have to expect it. We have to wait. We know it's going to happen. That's when we're really going to find out about this team. We're really going to find out about Maresca. Because let's be honest, when things are going well, it's easy. You know, it's where you really find out.
We have to give credit to the players. I mean, they make it good. You know, it's not like
no. I'm not saying. No,
I get what you're saying. Though, obviously, when we have a bad patch, we need to bounce back from it. But do you not find it even more impressive the fact that we haven't really had one yet?
No. Look, we started really well, and look, I'm not, putting any downers on it. All I'm saying is that we don't know how this. That's the big question mark over the team. Still, we don't know how they're going to react and respond to a bad run of form. Everything's been great so far. We're going in the right direction. Things are looking good. We're playing good football. But the only thing I'm worried about is how is this team going to react to a bad run of form? Hopefully, that's not going to be something we have to worry about for a while. But it's something that we have to accept is going to happen. And, that's we need to see how we respond to that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I mean, Chris is pretty sold on Maresca. Same as me, Chris. I mean, I was skeptical as well. For me, I saw all these options. People said, "Would you take Mourinho?" I was like, "Absolutely, of course I would take Mourinho," as well as other managers as well. Hansi Flick's name was tossed around, and then we heard that the options were, God, who was it? Thomas Frank,
McKenna,
Ian McKenna, De Zerbi, or Maresca. And when I dived into it, well, nobody was happy with any of them. Let's not kid ourselves here. But Maresca was probably the best of that bunch for the reason that, we knew that he wasn't going to have any disagreements with the board. I think that De Zerbi would have fallen out straight away. Thomas Frank and Ian McKenna don't suit the style of football that we're trying to play. So Maresca was the best fit in that sense. But we're not going to kid ourselves and say we wanted him to come. But listen, he's here now. And that is why these people at Chelsea get paid the big bucks to make these decisions. And they got a few wrong, but they finally got one right as it stands with Maresca.
As it stands right now, yeah.
Yes. And long may it continue.
Exactly. Let's hope so, brother. Let's hope so.
But listen, I mean, it's interesting as well. Maresca talked about the fact that when you're 2-0 up in the last 5 or 6 minutes, players keep falling down. But he likes the fact that we don't put up with that or tolerate that in England anymore. I mean, that used to happen all the time years ago, not that long. But with the extra minutes being added on, it's impossible now. But I do think, to be fair, though, the referees, although I quite like that rule, in the sense that players are forced to be sportsmanlike because otherwise the time just gets added on. I do feel like when you look at the congestion and the fixtures and everything like that, I mean, it's not really sustainable for the players to be playing almost 100 minutes every game because it's never a 90-minute game anymore. It's always 100 minutes.
No, it's 100 minutes. Yeah, it's easy.
Sometimes 105 and others. Like if a player gets put on a stretcher, that's 12 minutes right there. Not to mention anything else happens. I mean, I don't know, man. Especially when you've got a late kickoff. If it's an 8 o'clock kickoff and you see 12 minutes added on, and you've got to grab your train at the end, you're like, really? Especially when we're filming as well. So I know that I'm going to be hanging around longer than other people. My girlfriend used to live in Chiswick. So, well, Rachel. So she used to just drive and pick me up. It was fine. But now she doesn't. So I'm in big trouble if we've got an 8 o'clock kickoff.
Oh, yeah, finished.
I am finished, mate. But listen, hopefully there's no more issues with that side of things. What's your thoughts on Wesley Fofana, Charlie, because Enzo Maresca was talking about Fofana's injury. You know, you've got to be careful. He felt a little bit of pain against Newcastle, but he managed to get on with it. I mean, are you happy with Fofana at the moment? Because me personally, I'm not convinced. I'm not saying Tossin's a better player, although I would start Tossin more than Maresca has been. I do think that Liverpool, he didn't have the best game, but I don't think Fofana had the best game against Newcastle. So, you know, you've got two players struggling to find their best form. I personally build the team around a player who I know is going to be fit. I know you think otherwise, because at his best, we can all agree Fofana is a better player. The question is, when are we going to see him at his best, and how long is it going to take?
I think we have to be realistic that his whole time at Chelsea has been very injury plagued. He missed the entire of last season with an ACL injury. Let's not forget the guy's only played nine games, you know, after a year out. To expect him to be at, you know, the peak of his powers and at some sort of ridiculous level this quickly after coming back from a long-term injury is totally unrealistic. He has looked a bit rusty, but why is anyone surprised by that? That should be totally expected for someone that's been out for so long. He's only 23. Yeah, you know, he's had a lot of injury problems. He had broken leg at Leicester. You know, the whole, you know, didn't play much under Potter, the Potter Lampard era. Didn't play at all under Poch, and now he's played 9 games this season, and he's getting better. He's getting fitter. He's getting more sharp. Maresca's pleased with what he's seeing from him. And that Colwell-Fofana partnership for me is our best partnership. And yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time for him to get fully up to speed, but I think he's going in the right direction. All these things, you know, sort of awareness, sharpness, and those kind of things, they take a little bit of time to come back when you've been out of the game for so long. So look, I'm happy with Fofana. You know, yes, he needs to stay fit, but I'd argue that sort of broken leg, ACL are hardly signs of being injury prone. I just think they're unlucky. You know, anyone could pick an ACL up, and broken leg was just, you know, bad tackle. That's not being injury prone. That's just someone that's fucked you basically. So, I'm pleased with how he's doing. You know, he's improving. Yeah, of course, you know, there's a few things that can be done better, but he's absolutely part of Chelsea's best partnership in my view.
I guess the question I'd then have, because I agree with what you're saying, yeah, you can't just look at the fact that he's injured and or has been injured and expect him to come back and be 100%. Why start him in the first team though, if he's not going to be at his best? Like, why not just play him on Thursday nights? Because that to me would be a sensible decision for a player who you know is not going to be 100%.
Yeah, possibly, but I think it probably goes to show that maybe Maresca doesn't fully trust the other centre backs. You know, he doesn't think they're as good, not prepared to take that risk. And I can understand that if he thinks he's one of Chelsea's best defenders, which I think, you know, is not a ridiculous conclusion to come to, because he is. You play your 2 best defenders, and they are our 2 best defenders. That that's not really up for the debate for me. Badiashile is as you know, put in a couple of promising performances. He's potentially on his way back to what we saw when he first came. Disasi isn't it, and Tosin, you know, is done okay against West Ham. Has done okay in a few cup games, but like you can. This is exactly right on the from Cuzzy here. Like, it would be a different conversation if there was someone that was, you know, really knocking at the door and, you know, pulling up trees, and you sort of think that they should be in the lineup. I don't think any of us here, you know, in the chat or myself or you can say that Fofana's been bad enough and there's someone that's been good enough that is genuinely knocking on the door and should break that partnership up, because that's the main question here, you know, is who actually has been good enough to warrant breaking that partnership up. And I don't think anyone's been significantly better than Fofana to warrant the partnership being changed.
Yeah, no, it's totally fair. But also, my side of it is, why stick with him when, for example, Tosin, who hasn't had the best games either, but hasn't really been much worse than Fofana, if I'm totally honest. So why not chuck him in the deep end a little bit more? And then if you do end up getting a couple of dodgy games, you can stick Fofana back in. I just think that Tosin hasn't
continuity at the back, though. You have to have continuity. You can't just be chopping and changing your centre back pairing. You have your centre back pairing and you stick with it. and unless like form or whatever dictates otherwise, you've got to stick with it.
You think we'll see Fofana continue to start
Yeah.
alongside Colwell?
Yeah, absolutely. Unless he goes through a terrible run of form,
I'm with you.
and that's not the case right now.
That's true. No, that is true. That is very true. Listen, we've got 350 people watching, 250 on X, and almost 100 on YouTube. Guys, smash the like button if you haven't already. Let's get up to 100 likes on YouTube. Keep me posted in the chat as well. I have no idea how many likes you're on. Can you like things on X as well, Charlie? I don't know. Like, how does it work on X?
But you can like something. Yeah, you just like the tweet. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really use it. So
I don't stream anything on X, so I don't really know.
Fair enough. Well, listen, if you can like it on X as well, that helps. Whatever you do. Listen, before we get into the next part of this video, big up to Kev. How are you doing, my friend?
All good, all good, all good. How are you? How are you both?
Yeah,
I'm very well. Good. Very well. Listen, it's a late night stream. It's a beautiful thing. I usually I struggle to stream in the evenings because those of you who don't know, I do have a job, and my work hours tend to be a little bit later. So when everyone finishes around 5, that's kind of when I start, and then I usually go until around 9, half 9. So the late night streams aren't great because I get home and have dinner, but this week's not too bad. And I thought, well, let's get one in before the Newcastle game. I mean, Kev, listen, me and Charlie have been speaking about what Maresca's been saying. We talked about Fofana, the centre-back pairing, as well as just generally how we think the Newcastle game went on Sunday. I mean, me and you have spoken already about it, but I mean, what's your overriding thoughts based on what we saw on Sunday and what needs to change on Wednesday? And also, what do you think will change?
Goalkeeper. That's it. Well, to be fair to you, the performance was pretty solid. Fofana had a brilliant game. A bit scared within the first 10 minutes when he pulled up with that knee injury, but he came back firing. He's putting his body in the line, clearing balls, making interceptions. And I think he's got a great partnership with Levi Colwell. I think Levi Colwell likes to sit back and sweep, and he likes to dictate the play, and Fofana likes to push forward, likes to do all the dirty work. So I think they're starting to build a good partnership there, and hopefully it lasts for a long time. Hopefully Fofana, jinx touch wood, doesn't get any injuries. But the only thing that scares me is the goalkeeper situation. I feel like with that back four, it worries me. I don't feel that they're comfortable with him. A couple of occasions on Sunday, Colwell was nodding his head to say, like, what are you doing here? He's kicking the ball out into touch. He's kicking the ball straight through the middle to opposing players. I feel like this situation needs to change very quickly. And I feel like Jorgensen has got an opportunity tomorrow, which he will start. If he has a good game, let him start on Sunday against Man United, because we cannot be dropping points and dropping goals and against teams because of his bad performances and his distribution.
I mean, did you just do the preview show with Lewis before you come on?
Just finished, just come off 5 minutes ago. So the work rate's up. So straight back on.
What was Lewis saying about it?
He's the same. He's the same as all of us, to be fair. We all can agree that Sanchez is going to cost us. And everybody, I watch a lot of Chelsea fans on the previews and watch alongs and everything else. And we're all in agreement that Sanchez needs to be dropped. And enough's enough now. He progressed. A lot of players within the team have progressed. Sanchez hasn't. He's still making the same recurring mistakes as he did last year. And we're going to lose points. And we're fighting for this top four. It only takes for him to have a couple of bad performances and cost us a goal, which would cost us a point. And we've lost that Champions League spot. So that's the most important thing. I think me and Lewis, we was discussing it quite a lot on the preview, that we feel like Jorgensen needs to have opportunity there to start more games.
I'm with you there. Well, listen, guys. I mean, Chris thinks that's a good take from you, Kev. Kuzi says Felix masterclass tomorrow. That would be interesting to see how he plays, especially because I mean, you've got to be unbelievable to get ahead of Cole Palmer, but he was good. He was good in Greece. Let's have another one away at Newcastle, please. But listen, we're going to go into the next stage of this preview. Charlie, I know you. I mean, how long have you got, Charlie? Have you got to go?
I've got 5 minutes, mate.
Got a few minutes. Okay. Well, we're going to get to the next stage of this this preview. We're going to go through our predicted starting 11 up against Newcastle. Who's going to play? Who's not going to play? And we're going to delve into why as well. I think we can all agree the first person on the team sheet on Wednesday is going to be this man right here, Philip Jorgensen. Obviously, came in from Villarreal. Performed very, very well in La Liga. He has the highest save percentage in Spain when he was out there. Good with his feet as well. This is something we've been really critical about Robert Sanchez. I mean, Charlie, I'll start with you. Kev's alluded to it already. The first thing he said when I said what needs to change is the goalkeeper. Is it as obvious as that?
Yeah, we know he's going to play anyway. He's the cup keeper. We know he's going to play. In the games that he's played for us so far, he's looked all right. He hasn't had an awful lot to do because the level of opposition's not been great. This will be, in theory, this should be his most difficult game so far for us. Away at Newcastle, decent level of opposition. And if he can put in a decent performance, it's an opportunity for him to put more pressure on Maresca and put more pressure on Sanchez. So he'll definitely play.
What about you, Kev? Just do you have anything else to say about Jorgensen?
100,000,000%. His distribution has been good so far. Pulled off a couple good saves as well against Panathinaikos. I just feel like he needs to give him an opportunity. And it was the same kind of time last year when we had Petrovic and Sanchez got dropped and Petrovic came in and he outshone him. So hopefully the same can happen with Philip Jorgensen. I feel like if he has a good game against Newcastle, see how he copes against Man United, and maybe we can see the back of Sanchez, because I don't want us to drop any more points or silly goals with this guy in goal now. It's getting to the point where we've all had enough. Let's give Philip Jorgensen an opportunity to see how he copes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a clip online, I saw it earlier today, of Jorgensen just juggling with the ball. And then you know how Zlatan catches it on his chest and leans back? Jorgensen was doing something similar. And to be fair, I mean, if you watch him play, he is good with his feet. I thought that Sanchez, when he comes to Chelsea, would be so much better than he has been with his feet. I don't know if it's mental. I mean, it's got to be mental, because technically you can see there is something there, but mentally he just drifts off, and it's so frustrating to watch. But yeah, it's a no-brainer. We're going to see Jorgensen in there. I mean, if you disagree with us in the chat, let us know, but I think we can all agree. Now, at left back, I've gone with this man here. I do feel like Cucurella didn't start in the Premier League. He did come on as a substitute. Surely he's got to have more minutes on Wednesday if he didn't play in the league game.
Yeah, well, I think that's fair. I think it's the obvious choice. You could maybe say Renato Vega, but considering Vega didn't even come on, we could maybe see Vega at centre back as a possibility. We could see that. But yeah, look, I think it's Cucurella. I don't think we'll see Gusto there. We certainly are not going to see Reece James there. So yeah, it's the obvious choice. And for a game like this, he's been one of our best players this season, and he offers that tenacity, that physicality that we're going to need in a match like this.
Leadership as well.
Yeah, and also leadership. But yeah, bro, I'm gonna have to shoot now. But I will
see you, Charlie, man.
I'll see both of you boys tomorrow anyway.
Yes. Thanks for jumping on, Charlie. Appreciate it.
No problem.
See you tomorrow, bro.
Enjoy the rest
of
the show.
Training.
Yeah, see you tomorrow, lads. Nice one.
See you later, bro.
Yeah, Kev, I mean, we were talking about Cucurella. Do you think that it might be worth looking at Vega as well, though? Is he out of the conversation here, or is Cucurella the number one choice? Because I wouldn't have a big problem with Vega starting this game. I presume that since Cucurella didn't play, we'd probably see him in the away fixture.
Cucurella's got to start. You've got to start. We need that solid, stable leadership experience in such a massive game. It's not a small game, and I'm sure Newcastle are going to start with a strong lineup. So nothing against Viega. I think he's been good in the minutes he's played. But if you want a more of a stable, experienced player down that left side, let's say, Cucurella has to start for me.
Cucurella, fair enough. We're going to go on to the centre back role now. So obviously we had Colwell and Fofana on the weekend. Pretty certain they won't be starting. This is a man who played in Greece, came on against Liverpool, made a fantastic impact. Me and you, Kev, we wrote him off. Let's not sit here and kid ourselves. We wrote Badiashile off. I can try and pull up the clip, but when we conceded that goal, I think it was Vinicius or Rodrigo, I can't remember who scored it, and the guy didn't even slide in. I said, I'm done. I don't want to see this man playing a Chelsea shirt again. And I meant it. I wasn't lying to you. I was that angry about it. It wasn't the fact that we conceded the goal. I just felt like it was a lack of effort. But obviously, Maresca has something, well, he sees something in Badiashile where he thinks he still can be a part of this team. Obviously, not in the A side, but from a rotation perspective, I mean, we're going to be rotating heavily, and Badiashile's a big part of those plans. Any arguments with him starting next to Cucurella on the left side of the middle?
He deserves a chance. He deserves a chance, and that's simply because and how he came on and performed against Liverpool. It's a cup game. Okay, we want to go out with our strongest potential squad. Obviously, he's not our strongest centre back, but when you come on, you do such a good job. Considering everyone said we wanted you out, you come on, you've done a good job against Liverpool. Let's be real, probably the best team in the league this year. He deserves another start, and maybe this is his opportunity to revitalize his career, because when he came to Chelsea at the start of his career, he was half decent. He was probably one of our best centre backs, and then all of a sudden the performances levels dropped. So hopefully, if he gets a start tomorrow, we can see the Badiashile, hey, that's played against Liverpool, not against the one against Wrexham, and maybe that puts him in contention to start more games. We never know. So Badiashile, he definitely deserves a start tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd like to see Badiashile play, and you know what? Credit to the man. Like we were hating on him. Like I was hating on the guy, and do you know what? I think he deserved the hate because I think he was crap.
It was shit, yeah,
but every player, if you are a top player, if you have a real mentality, there's a reason you got picked to play for Chelsea and signed, and there's a reason that you got to this level. You have to have something about you, not just in terms of your ability, but in terms of your mindset, to be able to bounce back. And I really hope Badiashile can do it. I mean, we spent a lot of money on him. We gave him a bloody long contract. I still think he's got 5-6 years left on his deal. You know, so it's not like he's going anywhere anytime soon. So yeah, all the best to the guy, and I wish him luck on Wednesday. I hope to see a good performance from him. Now, next to Badiashile, any disagreements with this one, Kev?
Not at all. Toss him. Obviously didn't have the best of performance against Liverpool. I feel like he slowed the game down massively, and he was very slow and sloppy and sluggish against, let's say, a very fast-paced Liverpool in attacking transition. But Maresca seen it, took him off, and he hasn't really played. He hasn't played since. So this is opportunity to get himself back in contention for stuff. Because let's be real, he's been one of our best centre backs. But you know, this Maresca guy doesn't play around. If he sees something, he changes it, and that's what we all want to see. A manager acts on instinct. Sorry. So Tosin got took off. He's going to get an opportunity tomorrow. I feel like with rotation, with the games coming up, Tosin would be a good player to start, and maybe we get to see Fofana and Colwell in the United game on the following Sunday. So Tosin deserves a start.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. I mean, I love Tosin. I think Tosin's a great player. One of the things that I like about Tosin as well is something Maresca's alluded to earlier. We could see it in the training videos from pre-season when he first come in. He's a natural leader. He communicates well with his teammates. He encourages them, and you know, he just looks like a proven Premier League player. I mean, we literally bought him from a Premier League team, Fulham, where he was performing well. Not to mention the fact that he's played in this system before under, I think it was under Maresca at Man City, or just Man City in general, something like that. That youth setup. Yeah, I think Tosin was a really smart buy for us, and like nobody can criticize us bringing in Tosin, unlike Disasi, unlike Badiashile, who we spent 30-40 million on. You can criticize that because it's a poor investment ultimately, based on what we've seen. But I think Badiashile can certainly bounce back. Disasi, I really don't think he can. Under Poch, there was a chance. Under Maresca, I don't think there's a single chance whatsoever. Yeah, he's not going to get in this team for me. I still can't believe that he's playing at all. And if we see him on Wednesday, I think that'll be a massive shock. I mean, I completely agree with what Nehemiah is saying. Disasi cannot play right tomorrow. I mean, that's just asking to get battered down that left side. I think Anthony Gordon did play on Sunday. Am I right? I think he played.
No, it was what's his name from Leicester, left winger.
Oh, Barnes. So is Gordon going to be available in this game?
Gordon, I'm not quite sure if he's got an injury. He must have an injury because he would have.
I don't even know.
Yeah, he would have definitely. No offense to Harvey Barnes, but Gordon's ahead of him, so I'm sure they would have started the Gordon over Barnes Sunday. So maybe he has an injury. So we don't want to see Gordon or even Harvey Barnes playing against Disasi down the right. If he starts Disasi down the right, you're just begging to get to lose that game. So it has to be for me. Gusto has to start down the right. It gives us that stability. I don't think we want to rush James back into it so soon, playing him twice in 1 week. So Gusto's got to be. Before you go on to him, I think Gusto's got to be the guy who starts on that right.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've just seen it's on the Express. I don't know how reliable the source is, but I mean they're quoting Eddie Howe. So according to Eddie Howe, he revealed that Anthony Gordon may have a chance of featuring against Chelsea in Wednesday's Carabao Cup clash. So that gives us a little bit of clarity that he could play. He probably won't start. Potentially coming off the bench. Whatever happens, I don't want to see Disasi there. I don't think that really changes whether Gordon's on the pitch or not. But yeah, so tossing next to Badia Shield, I'd much rather that than Disasi. I certainly don't want to see Disasi on the right-hand side. Which begs the question, who do we play on the right? And I also saw a comment earlier on, which I think is a fair comment, saying, why don't you play Cucurella on the right and Vega on the left? Because we have actually seen Cucurella play on the right before against Brighton last season. And he was exceptional. That was the first game that we saw Cucurella play where we thought, oh, you know, he's actually been really, really good today, even though he was out of position. And since then, he really, really improved. So I don't really feel like I have a massive problem with Cucurella on the right, especially when you look at it from a fitness point of view, rotation. You've got James, who's certainly not going to play, and then you've got Gusto, who's featured as well. So from that perspective, I don't have an issue, but tactically, it does cause you issues having a left-sided player at right back. So I mean, what's your thoughts on it?
It comes down to balance. That's all it is. I feel like when you've got a left-footed player playing in the right, they tend to come inside a bit more. Whereas if you've got a right back playing right back and the left back playing left back, you get that natural width and they want to go on the outside rather than cutting back in. That's my only concern. But Cucurella would not be a bad shout for right back and Vega left back. It wouldn't be a bad shout. But for me personally, I'd just start with Cucurella and Gusto in the fullback positions and maybe bring Viega on after the 60th minute. You know, we all know that Viega's coming in as a project player, as a squad player. I don't think he'd be too upset about starting on the bench and getting some minutes off the bench. So I feel like Gusto down the right and Cucurella on the left would be the strongest possible starting lineup for us to go into tomorrow's game.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I mean, what do you think in the chat, guys? What was that, Kev?
It's just balance, just down to balance. I feel like when you continue to play, you fall backs in the opposite sides, let's say. So we've seen James playing left back, we've seen Gusto playing left back. It's not their natural position, and they're not going to pick up natural positions on the pitch. So you're basically playing with 10.5 men because they're not going to want to overlap. They're not going to want to pick up the ball on that natural side, if you see what I'm saying. They'll always look to come back in. Whereas if you play a left back, they're going to want to get down the flank, cross the ball in. If you're playing a right back, left back, they're going to cut back in. So it's limiting your opportunities to get the ball forward and get into attacking positions. So just go with the natural players and see how it goes, and then maybe make substitutions in the second half.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Chris is saying Cucurella can play as a right back, as can Fofana. Vega's a solid left back. Yeah, I don't think we'll see Fofana playing though. Definitely not. Especially he had a little injury issue as well, so no point risking that as much. Okay, cool. So we're happy with tossing there. So what are we saying? We're saying we got Vega on the left, then, and then we're going to move Cucurella onto the right side. Is that right?
Not for me personally, but it wouldn't be a bad shot. I'd start with Gusto on the right, Kuka on the left.
Okay.
Me
Okay.
personally.
Okay. We'll go with Gusto then, Kev. We'll go with Gusto. So we're saying Gusto on the right side. Fair enough. Fair enough. If anyone disagrees with that, let us know. I mean, because he thinks he needs to play. All right, we go into the midfield now. I personally thought, and my prediction was that we would see Enzo starting as a 6 because he played very, very well in Greece, and then maybe Caicedo further up as a box-to-box midfielder, which we've seen many, many times. You know, he's certainly capable of doing that and versatile, unlike Fernandez. But we didn't. We saw classic. What's his name? Oh, I've forgotten his name. Lavia and Caicedo. And listen, that is by far our strongest midfield. But I expected at least one of those players to be dropped so that we could have a little bit more firepower tomorrow. It's turned out that that's not going to be the case. So do we think we're going to see Enzo Fernandez again on Wednesday like we did in Greece? Can you hear me, Kev?
Yeah, I feel like we need to keep it solid. Shrewsbury Hall. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry. You've been you were lagging a little bit there, mate.
Sorry, mate. Yeah. Sorry, just bad reception. Yeah, but I feel like Shrewsbury Hall, his performance in Panathinaikos did him the world of joy. And but if you want to go with that solid, stable midfielder, which is gonna, I would drop. Yeah, if you want to go with that solid midfield, and obviously these midfielders, they both know each other's game inside out. They've played together now for a year. It'd have to be Fernandez and Caicedo, but Shrewsbury Hall would be close or thereabouts for a start. I feel like in a cup game, give him an opportunity. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Fernandez and a Shrewsbury Hall as a box to box. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I mean, I the reason I wanted Fernandez to play against Newcastle in the home game was because I knew we would dominate more. It's a home game, so we've got the fans behind us. And when Newcastle play at home, they've got to be under more pressure to go for teams than they are away from home. I think as a Newcastle fan, if I was there, I could accept us sitting back at Stamford Bridge because I know how good Chelsea are and what we possess. The fact that we've got Palmer, the fact that we've got James, who's able to spread these balls. Look, we've got a lot of quality, man. And then when you look at what we're definitely not going to have, we're not going to have Palmer or these players in the Carabao Cup. So I just think Newcastle will be in a better position to try and attack us on the front foot and press a little bit more. Not that they didn't press, because they did, but it wasn't aggressive. It was a similar approach, in my opinion, to what Liverpool did, maybe slightly more aggressive. But yeah, I mean, I thought Enzo would have been perfect for that game. And I'm not criticizing Enzo because, listen, at the end, if you're going to win a game, win the game. And we did. But for me, I'm not confident with Enzo Fernandez when we are under pressure off the ball. And that is where I would have played Lavia in this game instead of on Sunday. And now we're not in a position to do that because we know he can only play once a week. So we're forced to play Enzo in the 6, which I think is going to leave us vulnerable defensively. I mean, some people are saying play a midfield 3. I mean, because he's saying Enzo and Caicedo. What? And Caicedo is better than who? Father's saying try Enzo Lavia. You've got to keep him happy. Same like in Kunku. I know it's been a tough season for them, but at the end of the day, everyone's got to get some minutes. I mean, I don't think it's just about. I don't think they're going to be happy if they get injured, Father.
I think Lavi's only him and James. I think they're only one game a week at the moment. I feel like if you don't want to rush them and kick them into 2 games a week, I don't think that would be a sensible thing to do. But I can see where Fat's on about. But I feel like it's someone else needs to have a little go. I think Shrewsbury Hall and Enzo would be a good shout. But the only thing is, what scares me, he's on the transition. I think we've seen it on the Sunday with Joe Linton. He's such a physical player. He likes to really get on that ball and be physical. He likes to get in box to box. Can Enzo keep up with him in that midfield? So Casado, if you want to be solid, like I said, it's a must-win game. So you want to play with probably the best players at your disposal. So maybe Casado and Enzo. And if the game's going well, bring a Dewsbury Hall or Casady off the bench, or even a Lavia. For only time will tell. It's good options to have. It's a good headache to have, but we've got to go with the right players to suit that game, and not just play players for minutes' sake. We've got to go and win this game. So if it means starting our best players, we've got to do that. Yeah,
big up to everyone that's watching. I said, can we get 100 likes? Chris just humbled me and said we've only got 82 watching. That is on YouTube. We've got almost 400 people if you include everyone on X. But thanks for correcting me, Chris. Can we get 82 likes then? Can we get 82 likes? I don't even know what we're on, but smash the like button if you haven't already. If you're enjoying this, look at Kev. He's yawning. He's tired. He's got kids. He's got to get up in the morning to drive me to Newcastle. Show him some love. Smash the like button.
No, before that, it's my son's 8th birthday. So big up everyone. Big up Dion if you're watching this. Well, you will be watching it. Big up Dion. It's your birthday tomorrow.
So happy birthday to Dion. How old is he?
He's going to be 8 tomorrow. So same number as Enzo Fernandez. So we've got to wake up in the morning, open all these presents. Then we're going to go and pick you up and drive 4.5 hours to Newcastle. So it's all fun and games, but all for the love of Chelsea. All for the love of Chelsea.
I thought to myself, I thought maybe Kev can have a lion, because I said earlier, well, you probably didn't hear me. I said, listen, I'll be honest, I've had some experiences with Kev in the cars back from away days, and you struggle to stay awake. And I mean, I don't say it in a hateful way. I mean, I hope we don't have that problem with Newcastle, but I'll be honest, I'm a little bit scared about that.
I'm a tired old man. Alex. Like I said, I'm closer to 40 than 30. So, you know, we get to your mid-30s. I was, especially when I've been coaching kids for like 7 hours straight today, takes it out of you. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to take space. I'm going to make space in the back of my van. If I feel tired, I'm going to have a lie down in the back of my van somewhere on the way back if I need to. So, Alex, it might be a long night for you coming back from Newcastle, but as long as we get back in one piece, that's the most important thing, mate.
How long are you going to have a nap for?
I don't know.
What am I going to do?
Do a podcast, do a cam. I don't know. Tickle your fingers. Tickle your fingers. Watch a film. I don't know. But the most important thing is us getting back safe, and it's a long drive, especially when it could be extra time. It could be leaving that ground at 10:30 at night.
No, there's no extra time in Carabao. I think it just goes to penalties.
Okay. So the game could still potentially finish at 10:30. Bang comes after that, takes us to 11:30. So we could be setting off from Newcastle at 12 o'clock at night, not getting back to Stoke till 4:05. So it's going to be a long night, bro.
Oh, fuck off!
It's going to be a long night, bro. It's a 4.5 hour drive. 4.5 hour drive back from Newcastle. So yeah.
Oh my god.
It's a long drive, bro.
That's ridiculous. I didn't think it was good. I thought we finish at 10. No, Kev, it's not going to be 4. Kev, if we do fan cams, we'll be home by like 2:30 in the morning. I mean, I'll take that before 3.
Potentially.
You can't say 5 a.m.
Potentially. Let's see how it goes.
You will feel worse. You and me will both feel worse if we end up going for 5. Even if you have like a little kip for an hour or something.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, we've got to be safe. I don't want you falling asleep at the wheel. I'll be honest, guys. It has happened. It has happened.
You'll have to get that water spray bottle. You know what? I'm gonna get that ready for tomorrow. With some ice cold water. So when you see me going like this, just spray him in the face, and hopefully
that's what I did when we were coming back from. Was it Nottingham Forest?
Nottingham Forest, New Year's, yeah, last year.
Mr. Stupid man, we can't book a hotel because it's expensive. And also, like, me and Kev have got to work the next day. I mean, I'm not working that early, but you know, I've still got to get back for the afternoon. And what time do you start work, Kev?
I've got a football camp at 10 Thursday morning, 10 till 12. So I've got to be fresh. I got to get back. I can't let the.
There's no. Oh my god. So
I know.
Oh my days.
Don't
Well,
worry about it. Look, we do this for Chelsea. We put our backs to the line. We travel 4.5 hours up to the other side of the country for our club, you know. And when we get back, we'll have to deal with that situation when it comes. But I'm not thinking about it too much. As long as I get back home safe, I get a few hours in. I'm sure I'll be able to cope with 2 hours chasing kids around the field. So let's see what happens, bro. Let's see what happens.
fair enough, man. Like, fair play. Honestly, I've got to respect it. I mean, to be fair, I'm traveling further than you are, but you're the one driving, not me. So,
Yeah.
big up to you, man. I mean, listen, let's continue with our predicted lineup. So we've got, as it stands, guys, we've got Jorgensen in goal. We've got Cucurella at left back, playing alongside Badia, Shield, and Tossin in the middle. Kev wants Gusto on the right, although I'll be honest, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Cucurella on the right and Vega on the left. I'm with some of you on that for rotation purposes. As well, we know Vega can invert quite well, not as well as Cucurella, but he can invert well. And then we've got Enzo Fernandez in the 6. So the question is, who partners Enzo Fernandez in midfield, hopefully playing a slightly higher role in the 8? For me, Kev, I think it's going to be this man, and I think he deserves a start as well. Listen, he's had some moments, especially I remember Wolves away. He gave the ball away a few times. Cfctvyt, I don't think anyone played well in that game, but I loved watching him against Barrow. I thought he really played well against Ghent. You could argue he was the man of the match in that game. I mean, what's your thoughts on Dewsbury Hall? I mean, am I fair to put him in my lineup, or is there someone else that he should start ahead of him?
He played really good against Panathinaikos, didn't he? So he hasn't really had much opportunity this year. Obviously, reason being the midfield so packed with talent. But maybe it's an opportunity to stake his claim for future games. So I'm more than happy for him to start as a box-to-box player, and this is what he does well. There's not many players in that team that can do what he does in respective of picking the ball up from deep areas and driving forward and creating chances. So he can play it next to Enzo. Let him do all the hard work and the running around and driving with the ball, and let Enzo just sit back and break play up and ping that ball around and control the game. So it's a good combination to have both of them in the same team. So Dewsbury is a good shot in that midfield.
Yeah, I don't think there's any arguments from my side. I like Dewsbury Hall. I think he's criminally underrated. I think he was actually a really good signing. Sometimes you have to sign signings knowing that, and they know that they're not going to get the game time straight away. But the question is, are they still good enough to perform when called upon and when the rotation needs to happen? And I think Dewsbury Hall is a perfect example of that. I think he's a player with a point to prove, but I think he's certainly improving in a Chelsea shirt. He played under Maresca last season. He was a good player for Leicester, very capable of getting into the box and causing problems, making runs and doing the dirty work as well. But he's also got that technical ability, which I think people haven't really spoken about. And I think people need to look at Dewsbury Hall and put more respect on his name. I'm a big fan of this guy. And I think, listen, you can buy all the big names in the world. Sometimes the best gems are the ones you've never heard of. And Enzo Maresca is one of those gems. I mean, who thought that we would ever be linked with a championship manager in the summer? But it was a real thing. And it's turned out to work very well for us. And I think Dewsbury Hall can certainly be a similar player. I'm not saying he's going to be like Lavia or Caicedo in the midfield. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that he brings a lot of quality to this team. He brings his own qualities. And I think that he is making us a better team, which I will always welcome. I'll also say that I think Felix is a similar player. I think that when I see João Felix, he is another player. He knew he wasn't going to play. He knew that. I mean, he was never going into this team thinking he would start ahead of Cole Palmer, but he decided to come anyway, and he willingly came to Chelsea. So I think that we've made some very smart signings in that sense. Not to mention Felix took a pay cut. I don't know what Dewsbury Hall's on at the moment, but I can't imagine it's a ridiculous amount. So it's sustainable, it's realistic, but it's still making us better as well, which is what I will always ask. Let's move on to the wing, guys. Who do we think is going to be playing on the left and the right-hand side. For me personally, I'm going to start on the right-hand side, Kev. I'm going to start on the right. I think that we are going to see this man. He didn't get any minutes in the past couple of games. He had a very, very good start to life at Chelsea. But yeah, for tactical reasons, Enzo Maresca decided not to let him feature against Newcastle. We didn't see him in Greece either. What was the game before that? He did play against Liverpool. Not his best game, but still should have won a penalty looking back at it. What's your thoughts on Jadon Sancho's season so far?
Good, very good, very good. He's brought his career back. Well, obviously at Dortmund he played really well, but that's the German league. At United he had a terrible time, and he's come back and he seems happy. He's finding his feet. He seems happy. So a happy Sancho. It's going to be a good. He's a brilliant player. Let's be real. He's a brilliant player. So obviously with Man United on Sunday, he can't play against his parent club. It's the ideal thing to do for minute management for him to get a full 90 minutes, and hopefully he shines on that right hand side. So Jadon Sancho on the right, and obviously going to the left, I'd say a player that you could probably agree with would be Mykhailo Mudryk. He's been good. He's progressed his career at Chelsea the last few months, and this is what we want to be seeing. He's a bit similar to Badashila. We was all fed up with how they've progressed, but over the last month or so, we've seen good performance from him. So Mudryk on that left, due to game management, Sancho on the right, and I feel like it's not too bad players you've been getting for your second string, let's say. So it's a good thing to have. Good signs there.
Yeah, man. I mean, I like Sancho. I've heard that he's been very good on the right. Although I'll be honest, I haven't seen much of him on the right side. I mean, did he play on the right for Man United?
Sancho played on the left. On the
he
left,
played on the right as well, though, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. You can play on both sides.
But I mean, I've always felt like he's more dangerous on the left. So I mean, you have to accommodate him on the right, and we'll speak later about why that is. We've obviously got another player with Mudryk, who I think will also start this game on the left. So Mudryk certainly can't play on that side. You've got to play someone else. And Sancho hasn't had the minutes, but he doesn't have pace. I don't see him as a player who tries to beat a man and whip a cross in. He strikes me as a more technical player who is able to cut in, cause problems, and then hopefully have other players overlapping him and they can put balls in or just cause problems in other ways. So be interesting to see what his role is in this game. But for me, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about seeing Sancho on the right. There's no doubt about his quality. I just think you'll be able to get more out of his qualities on the left side. But you got Mudryk as well, so you're forced to accommodate a player like Sancho. I mean, have you seen him on the right much, Kev? What can you say about it?
I haven't, to be fair. I think he played a few games there for Man United on the right. Obviously, he's naturally a right footer, but he's one of them. He likes to cut inside. So it's maybe if they're smart enough. If you go back a few years when we had Robin and Duff, and they used to always swap sides all the time. Maybe Sancho and Mudryk could do something similar. Just keep on swapping sides. Keeps them both happy then, because we know Mudryk as well. He likes to play on that left-hand side as well as the right. So maybe it's a tactical decision to say, you know what, on different attacks or different parts of the game, just keep on swapping over to keep their fullbacks on their toes. So it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't really matter who starts on the left or right, just as long as they both play well.
Yeah, I'll be real. I think it's got to be Sancho on the left. You see much more from Mudryk on that right hand side, and I think for me and everybody else, it's really, really good to see this guy playing. Not at his best, because he certainly hasn't reached that pinnacle, but we're starting to see signs of a player who can reach his potential. And I remember, well, for example, the goal in Greece was just a clear example of good coaching. That is good coaching. You might not see it, but I'll explain it. The run that Mudryk made to get into the box to head that ball, I swear to God, I've never seen him make that run. I swear to God. And Maresca's clearly told him to do it. So for me, or whoever's been coaching Mudryk, someone in the staff has been telling Mudryk, these are the runs you need to make. This is what you need to do. And we saw it. And it shone through. And I was so happy to see. I think he got 2 assists as well against Panathinaikos, as well as a goal. And I think that this guy, I think he's more of a creative outlet for us. I'll be honest, I don't see Mudryk being a massive goal scorer, but I do see him creating a lot of chances and just causing havoc in a totally different way, because Sancho's a creator as well, but he lacks pace. So if you bring Mudryk on that left-hand side, providing they would both be starting there normally, you've got totally different qualities, but they both like to create as well. So I'm really happy to see Mudryk, and I do feel like he is slowly becoming the player that we want him to be, but we're a long way from that. I mean, until he's playing in Chelsea's first team every week and performing in the Premier League, I don't think anyone can really sit here and say Mudryk is worth what we paid for him, but we've certainly been patient. I mean, Kev, how many arguments did me and you have about Mudryk last season? The amount of times where I said, you got to give the guy patience. You said he's not good enough. And then it got to the stage in the summer where I lost patience. And now, actually, to be fair to Maresca, we are seeing an improvement.
I never really thought it was down to him being a bad player. I just felt like he needed to be coached. He needed to build his football IQ, let's say. There's plenty of occasions last year where he wasn't picking up the ball in the right positions, or he was taking a bad touch, or he was overhitting across. And we now started to see a more consistent run of him having better performances and better end products. So the coaching team need to be held accountable for this. They've done phenomenally well to get his level up to there. He's finding assists. He's picking at the ball in better positions, and I feel like he still needs to work on his shooting. Maybe sometimes he either underhits it or overhits it, but he can be worked on. As long as we can see him going that way with his performances and starting to build on it, it's good for us, because that's all we wanted to see, is improvement, and it's clearly working now. The numbers don't lie. He's got how many 6 assists this year, 2 goals. That's not bad for someone who hasn't had many starts. So if he starts tomorrow and he has a good game and he gets an assist and a start, we're starting to see the Mudryk that we paid all those millions for. So encouraging signs, very encouraging signs.
No, that's very true, mate. Very true. And then in the middle, I mean, do we have any disagreements here? I feel like this is fairly basic.
Yep. 100%. 100%. And I feel that the only reason why Felix hasn't started many games is because Palmer's that good. That Palmer's, for me, starts every game. That's the first name on your team sheet is Palmer. And obviously, because Felix is occupying the same position as him, he doesn't get the starts. But in cup games and European competitions, Felix has to start. He scored a brace in Greece last week, and he looked good. And it's not like it's not like he's playing bad. It's just because Palmer's that good. So hopefully Felix has a good performance tomorrow. That's all we want to see. These players in our second team playing good. That's all which is required from him. So Felix has to start in at number 10.
Yeah, man. I like what I've seen from Felix. I don't think he's a special player. Some people are saying he's really special. I don't think he's a special player. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player. And I always said he was an improvement on what we had. He was initially an improvement on Mudryk, because you could say that Felix is versatile to play on that left if needed. Definitely an improvement on Sterling as well. So when people talk about why did you sign Sancho, why did you bring in João Felix as well, we had players, but they weren't performing at all, and we had to raise that level. And I think just the fact that you've got better players around you makes you a better player. If you're any good and you've got a mentality, then you're going to go in there and perform, knowing that if you don't, you're not going to play. I mean, that's what it should have been for a long time. But I mean, we completely scrapped what we had under Abramovich. Everything changed. All of the quote unquote winners gutted out in terms of the staff as well. Everything changed. So it's hard to keep what we had in terms of winning every week, but slowly but surely we are rebuilding. And João Felix has been part of Chelsea before. He obviously enjoyed it, even though it was a pretty terrible time actually for us. And big up to him. The man took a pay cut, and hopefully he can help us against Newcastle. So that leaves one more position, Kev. It leaves the striker position. Now we are potentially faced with two choices. You've got Mark Guiu or Christopher Nkunku. Is there any debate between the two, or is this a clear and obvious choice?
Has to be in Kinku. Has to be. Don't know, man. I just get a certain start. He's not completely happy at the moment being a bench player. I feel like he wants to be the main man. But obviously, with Jackson playing so well, it's hard for him to get a look in. So I feel like if he doesn't start tomorrow, that's not good at all. I feel like a player that caliber needs to get the minutes. He needs to get a run of games, and if he plays well tomorrow, you never know. He probably could put him in contention for the Man United game. So, and Nkunku starts for me. No offense to Mark Guihu. I just feel like we all said at the start of the season, maybe a loan for him would be the most reasonable thing because he's not a bad player, but you have to go with if the fit, you have to go with your best players available to you. And then Nkunku would be that guy in this game.
What's he going to bring that might be different to what Nicholas Jackson has?
He's a better finisher. Let's be real. Even though Jackson's finishing has been a lot better, especially in one-on-one situations, what we think Nkunku is a more nimble player. I feel like he gets his shots off a bit more quicker. I feel like he's more aware in the box. So, say if it's a crowded area, we see it against Bournemouth, where he can just roll a player, drag the player, and he can find the net. So that's what you bring in. I think Jackson's more of a direct player, in behind, a lot more stronger. But with Nkunku, it's more pick attacker kind of football. Touch there, he can pick up a ball in a position, and he can be more nimble to find that space to find a shot on goal. So, two totally different players, but both good players in their own right.
Yeah, no, I'm with you as well. I think Nkunku's a clear choice. So listen, guys, we'll just give you a quick overview of what we've predicted for the starting 11 tomorrow against Newcastle, and then we're going to touch on a little bit of news which has just come out. So then we will wrap it up after. So listen, Kev, we've got Jorgensen in goal. We're going to say, well, you want Cucurella as a left back. I'm going to say Vega will probably be the left back. Next to Badiashile and Tosin. And then you want Gusto, but I think Cucurella is more than capable of playing on that side. So let us know in the chat. Do you agree with playing Vega at left back to accommodate, playing Cucurella at right back to accommodate Vega on the left? Or would you still go with Gusto and get the best out of Cucurella on his preferred side, knowing that he is the player who is very much capable of inverting into the midfield? Then we've got Enzo in the 6, playing alongside Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. No doubts on that partnership based on what we saw in Greece. They played very well. This is going to be a totally different challenge against a more aggressive side with a little bit more quality. But it will be interesting to see how Enzo plays on his second start in his proper position. So big up to Enzo Fernandez. If he can do well, I'm all for you. But listen, this is your chance. You've got to take it. And then we move on to the wing, where we've got Mudryk on the left, Sancho on the right-hand side, with João Felix in the 10 and Nkunku up top. So, yeah, that's what we're going with. Let us know if you agree or disagree with anything that we've said. And before we leave, we are just going to touch on something that's come up very, very recently. It is the man Fabrizio Romano talking about Enzo Maresca and the goalkeeping situation. Is Philip Jorgensen close to being Chelsea's new number one? A journalist asked, and Maresca answered no. At the moment, the number one is Robert Sanchez. At the moment, there is no doubt Robert is the number one. Philippe is doing a fantastic job in the Carabao Cup and the Conference League. So Enzo Maresca has given his clarity on the goalkeeping situation. It's not the kind of clarity that we want, but it's the kind of clarity that we have. And listen, you can agree or disagree with that. At least he's come out and said it straight. There's no confusion. I don't think anyone really expected anything different. But if we see a big performance from Jorgensen in this competition, and we're going to have to see more of them, because to take a player off of that perch in the starting position, you have to be very consistent, and they have to be the opposite. And I think Jorgensen did have a good performance in Greece. No clean sheet though. And Sanchez, you know, he's going to have to slip up a little bit more. But what's your take on it, Kev?
Disappointing. Disappointing. But you just never know with what a manager says. That could just be a good bit of PR. You just never know what he's got up his sleeve. So I'll take it as a pinch of salt. We all know that Robert Sanchez hasn't been nowhere near good enough the last few games. Jorgensen, if he steps up and continues to perform at a level, he's going to take the shirt. And every manager should be the same. It doesn't matter what number you are or what level you are or where you played before. If you're playing better, you deserve that spot. And I think it's the same situation now. I feel like if Sanchez continues to play bad, giving that ball away and making that defense nervy, we need to show it up and give the defense confidence. And Philip Jorgensen can come in and stake a claim, let's say. So hopefully it's just a bit of PR from Enzo Maresca, and it's not true, but only time will tell. And we all know what we want. We all know as fans that we want to see is Philip Jorgensen given a chance, same as last year with Petrovic. I feel like he was given an outshone chances and took the spot. So maybe it's the same scenario this year.
Let's not forget, though, the reason that Petrovic was given the opportunity was because Sanchez was injured. So Sanchez never got dropped. Sanchez got injured. Petrovic then had to play because he was the number 2, played really well, and then Sanchez never got back. So it wasn't like Pochettino dropped Sanchez. Petrovic just proved that he should be the starting keeper, and Poch didn't change things from there.
Yeah, there you go. So hopefully it's a similar scenario now, because we're seeing a decline in Sanchez's performances, and it's getting to the point where he's giving the ball away very cheaply, costing us. It's going to cost us points. So if Maresca wants to do himself favours, have a look at that position closely and make the right decision, because it's going to do good for us to get points.
I'm with you there, man. I'm with you. Well, listen, guys, we are before we go, we've got just over 400 people watching. If you are on YouTube, guys, smash that like button. Let's get up to 80 likes. I don't even know what we're on. I think we're on about 70 odd or something. Let's see if we can get up to 80 likes. Smash the like button. It does help massively, and we really, really appreciate it. If you are on Twitter as well, leave a thumbs up. I generally, I mean, Charlie's told me how to do this, but I've never watched this stuff on Twitter. So please let me know on Twitter, guys, what you actually do. You can't retweet this. I wouldn't say this is something you retweet. I guess you just add a heart or something. And also, we want to give a big shout out to Omely as well, guys. Me and Kev have done a couple of shows on there. It's an app that we're partnering with at the moment. Pretty much a lot of the creators are doing it. Arsenal fans, United, people like that. It's basically, for those of you on Twitter, you'll like this. It is an app, a bit like Spaces. So, when you go on a Twitter space and you listen to things, but you have a genuine chance of actually being able to contribute and speak with your favorite creators. A lot of the time on a space, you might request to speak, and it's quite difficult, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people speaking. It's hard to get your voice heard, but Omely is a little bit different. It's an app based on debate. If you are good at debating and you like debating other football fans, this is the app for you guys. It's totally free, doesn't cost a penny. All you've got to do is click the link in the description.
Download the app.
Well, yeah, you've got to download. There you go. Download the app. Simple as that. You should say it, not me.
Download the app. Download the app. Create a profile. Lock in. Go from there. Simple as 1, 2, 3, A, B, C.
And they do give you some funny AI characters as well. Do you want to pull up yours, Kev? I'll get my character.
Oh, mine's brilliant.
Look at this.
I look about 10 years
younger. My AI character.
I look 10 years younger.
Look at that.
Back to my youth. So there we go. 3 blue Kev. Everybody's adding it up. Add me up. And get to speak to me directly. How good's that? How fascinating is that?
Unbelievable, unbelievable. So yeah, download Amelie, check it out. It's a good bit of fun, and I'm going to be doing a show. I'll probably do a show with you later in the week, won't I, Kev? And we'll do a show with Lewis as well. So if you don't want to speak to myself, Lewis, Kev, Nina, Charlie, we're all going to be doing shows on there. So download the app, add us up, and then you can jump on and speak with us. But apart from that, guys, I want to give a big shout out to everyone that's been watching, everyone in the comments as well. Really appreciate if you've been watching for quite a while. It really helps. And I've enjoyed it, most importantly. I like doing it. And big up to you, Kev, as well, because I can see you're quite tired. And you've got an early morning coming up. So off to bed for you.
100%, bro. I'm going to have myself a brew and straight to bed, bro, and get ready for Dion to be waking me up.
Before bed?
Yeah, cuppa. I just need a cuppa. I feel like
why do people do that? Because cup of tea is meant to wake you up. I mean, I do it as well, but like, why do people do that?
Oh, no, I just fancy a cuppa. I just fancy, it's a bit nippy in this house, so I just warm me up a little bit and then jump into the sheets and then get Dion, wake you up at 5:30. Daddy, come downstairs. And
oh, mate. You can't let him do that, Kev. You can't, because that's going to fuck me. Because I've got to be in the car with you on the way back from Newcastle.
Oh, I'm going to sleep. It's 10 to 11. I'm going to bed now. So, peace. I'm off to bed.
Good to see you all, guys. Big up to everyone that's been watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash the like button. We will be back very, very soon. All the best and up the Chels.